Day 43, continuing with the Vaman avatar from the Shrimad Bhagwatam. So yesterday we saw that a sweet little boy, cute and adorable, manifested as the child of Aditi only to pacify King Bali and get the Swarg back for the Devas. Now he was all adorned and dressed and all the sanskars had been done, and Vaman Dev was ready to go and pacify King Bali. At that time, King Bali was in the midst of performing a huge yagna on the banks of the river Narmada. Everything was ready, the yagna was going on, the havan was going on, chanting was going on, oblations were being offered, charity was being done to the needy. And then from a distance, everyone saw a small, sweet little boy carrying a staff in one hand, carrying an umbrella in the other, with ochre clothes, sacred thread round his neck, slowly approaching the Yagnashala. And he was walking so slowly, and from his entire being, one radiance was just emitting out. It was so dazzling that all the pandits and all the pujaris, they were simply blinded by his aura. And even though they didn't know who he was, they instinctively felt that someone of a highly spiritual order, highly spiritually evolved person was coming their way. Instinctively, they all stood up as Vaman Dev entered the Yagnashala. They welcomed him, they bowed down to him with reverence, even though they did not know who this small child was. King Bali was actually bewitched. He could not take his eyes off Vaman Dev. And he bowed down. Bali was totally taken up by this sweet, cute, adorable little boy. And to welcome him, he did it in the true traditional way. He took water, he washed Vaman Dev's hands, then he washed Vaman Dev's feet, and then he took that water and he sprinkled it on top of him, which is the way you do welcome your guru. King Bali told Vaman Dev, I don't know who you are, but from the look of you, you look like you are the knower of Brahma. I want to serve you. What seva can I do for you? I'm doing this big yagna here, and even though I don't know who you are, I feel that my yagna has become successful. It has fulfilled the purpose for which I have started it just by your very presence here. He says, I want to offer you dakshina. What can I give you? You tell me. Do you want cows? Do you want land? Do you want homes? Do you want an army? Do you want elephants? Do you want horses? Do you want chariots? Maybe I can even give you a good girl who you can get married to. Ask anything. I will give it to you. I'm ready to give you anything. Vaman Bhagwan had a plan. He had planned a strategy for which he would be able to get the land of the Devas back. How to pacify. And this shows how strategically he was thinking. He firstly showed complete vairagya for all the gifts that were being offered to him. He was not interested. No cows, no home, no this, no that, nothing. Instead, he started talking about some completely different topic. He started talking about how great the Asuras are, and the lineage of the Asuras was so, noble. And he talked about Prahlad. He talked about Hiranyaksha. He talked about Hiranyakashipu. Now, does it mean that Bhagwan was being hypocritical? Was he mithyachar? Like, why is he praising the asuras? Is he just doing some kind of a bribery but through flattery? No, because Prahlad was actually an extremely noble king with highly spiritual virtues, and we have already had one session of Prahlad or several sessions regarding Prahlad earlier. But why did he praise Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, who were terrible monster Asura kings? Because actually they were Jaya and Vijaya, who were Bhagwan's own guards at Vaikunt. We have done this katha also earlier. So Bhagwan was not saying any lies. He was not doing, plain flattery to get his way. He was very clever in who he was praising. But Bali was like taken up completely by this flattery, and he was even more enticed with all this praise and everything. King Bali said again to him, come on, choose something. I want to give you something. Come on, say, what can I give you? So Bhagwan Vaman said, I will take only 3 steps of land. How much land I can walk in 3 steps, that much land I want. King Bali thought, this child gave me such a long-winded flattery. It goes on for pages and pages in Shrimad Bhagwatam. So Bali thought that he's going to ask for some gigantic, exorbitant, extravagant gift. But this child is asking for 3 steps of land. He thought, what a foolish child. And he told that also to Vaman Dev, you're not just a child, you're not just a small child, you are very childish. What is this 3 steps of land? What will you do with 3 steps of land? And then Ahankar took over King Bali. He says, I am King Bali. I can give you anything from the 3 worlds, anything from this earth, anything from Swarg, anything from Patal. I own it all. And once I make an offer, I will always keep my word. And what's more, when I give anything, that person should have so much abundance that he would never ask anyone else for anything else. So I am the greatest giver. Arrogance of King Bali overtook him completely. Now what would happen? Now I will tell you tomorrow how Bhagwan managed to pacify and take what he wanted from the arrogant King Bali, and also how King Bali himself got transformed. But tomorrow.